BusyBox's expert information on style. What is style?
Style is about knowing who you are. It's about having a confidence to make choices for yourself that are based on your needs, your lifestyle, and your body shape. And it's about individuality. It's about making choices for yourself.
What is fashion?
Fashion, interestingly, is a very different thing from style. It's completely loaded with seasonal rules and do's and don'ts, which means that there's a certain amount of information to be understood, created by an industry who want to sell fashion, and they want to repeat sell fashion. So I certainly don't subscribe to buying a uniform and wearing the same as everyone else and then worrying about whether you've got it right or wrong. There's certainly magazines who set themselves up to be judgmental of whether a woman has got it right or wrong, whether she's a celebrity or an ordinary woman. And fashion, with its rules, with its rigid rules really about looks and femininity, can be confusing sometimes.
Are there any rules when it comes to style?
There are no rules to style, but there are tools, and that's really about understanding how your body works and what it needs, and understanding your body's proportions, so that when you're sold something by the fashion industry as the look, the thing to wear, look, everybody else is wearing it, you can make a decision based on what your body needs, because what may suit a standard shaped model may not necessarily suit you.
How do I choose a style that is right for me?
Choosing a style that's right for you really means understanding what you need from your wardrobe. Many of us have different uniforms, so we need a working uniform, we need downtime clothes, we need occasion wear. So understanding what you want to buy and why is important, but then understanding your body shape and how those clothes will look on your body.
How do I dress in a flattering way?
A really key thing is to accept your body's shape and to be supportive of it, to know it, to understand it, and to be able to choose clothes with the features on them that will flatter your shape and therefore be helpful and supportive, so that you will start to build a collection of clothes that you know you can always look good in.
How much of style is down to confidence?
Confidence is really important when it comes to feeling stylish, because a big part of your look is how you feel and what you project. The reason, though, that stylists, professional stylists, are so confident with clothes is because they work with them all day and every day. So they understand proportion, they understand the way clothes hang, they instinctively know what looks good on a body. But also, we are often shown information when we're trying to understand the way that clothes work on a standard shaped body. And for many of us, when we don't have a standard shaped body, that can be confusing, because what looks good on a model doesn't necessarily look good on an ordinary body.
What is a trend?
A trend is really a theme or a story, and this helps journalists talk to us about clothes so that we can understand something as simple as, you know, the brand new colour this season is tangerine. So if we're wanting to buy into a trend, if we're wanting to look for something that gives our existing wardrobe a kind of contemporary touch, then we can buy into that trend. Where it becomes confusing is where there are so many trends unleashed by the industry and women feel perhaps under pressure to understand each trend, or worse still, to be wearing each trend.
Who decides a fashion trend?
Journalists will have different trends according to their readers, their demographics, so that a young teenager will want a completely different set of information to a middle-aged executive. So it's, for us as consumers, it's about picking someone whose voice we trust, picking a journalist or a reporter who we feel has our interests at heart, and sticking with them and asking them to give us her opinion on the clothes that she thinks will suit. There is so much information out there, and maybe it's tempting to feel that we should read everything so that we can be properly informed, but that's actually just going to do your head in. Picking one person whose voice makes sense, who that person takes a no-nonsense approach, means that they're actually sifting through the ideas and the trends and picking the best on your behalf.
How do I follow a fashion trend?
If you're interested in following fashion trends, there are loads of ways that you can get information about clothes and trends now. The internet, that we have an absolute plethora of magazines, and of course we see it on television. So using that information to update our own wardrobe is quite a simple and effective way of just following a trend, but only once you've made the decision that it's going to suit you. Following a trend for the sake of following a trend is detrimental on a style front.
Do I need to follow fashion to be stylish?
You don't have to be fashionable to be stylish. The two are really quite separate. In many ways, for me, being fashionable is about buying into a uniform that's been dictated by journalists, whereas being stylish is about being individual. But what you can do is incorporate a little bit or a portion of the trend. You know, how much is up to you. So how much you want to buy into a trend can be dictated by your personality, your lifestyle, your budget. So maybe you'll buy a couple of accessories to inject into a wardrobe that you have that's very classic, but it gives it a real kind of contemporary lift. Maybe you'll buy some tops that are really high fashion, but you'll put with your classic suits that you know suit you and that you like, and that's another way to inject just a contemporary feel. Or maybe you want to go the whole hog because you just like the idea of styling yourself up like a fashion plate, but the choice is yours.
What is high fashion?
High fashion is absolutely up to the minute. It's about knowing your catwalk references and really being informed. Mainstream fashion or commercial fashion is much more user-friendly in many ways, and it allows for the individual to, who perhaps is less confident as well, to buy into a look but not to feel that they are trying to wear the whole thing head to toe.
Can I get a catwalk look on a budget?
You can get catwalk looks on a budget these days. We have a huge versatility of retailers and prices. So you are obviously, to a certain extent, the cheaper you go, you're losing out on quality. You know, quite often what you're paying for is fabrics. You are also paying for sustainable fashion, clothes that have been produced in an ethical way. That costs money. You are also paying for exclusivity. So the cheaper it is, the more mass-produced it is, because it makes it cheaper for the retailer to put it out if they can mass-produce hundreds of thousands of units. But it's also worth knowing that it probably has been produced in an environment where someone has received very little for making it.
If I want to buy high fashion, what's the best approach?
If you really want to buy into a high fashion look that's very recognisable as something that a designer has done, and quite extreme maybe, then my best advice is to buy it reasonably cheaply, because it will date. That's what high fashion does. It's not a classic look, it's not middle of the road. And so buy it cheaply, wear it to death, then donate it, so that you've really got you know, the best value for money. You can also buy looks that are in the sales, buy them at the end of season, but that maybe have a bit more of a classic approach to them, because you feel, you know, or journalists have told you that it's going to go through into the next season. To be paying absolutely top dollar for something that's very expensive, you know, we had a whole spate of it bags where everybody got really excited about paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds for bags that actually then next season had become irrelevant because they were so obviously celebrated that season. Is not, I think, a sensible way of spending your money.
www.busybox.com